Today, I'm going to address one of the most common questions we get from women that are considering working with us, and that is, how do you even do physical therapy virtually? So today, I'm going to talk not only about how we do it and what it looks like, but also why we've chosen this model. But first, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Jessica Warnke. I'm an orthopedic and pelvic floor physical therapist, and I spent a lot of time working in the clinic. I've done over a decade of in-person care, both working for typical corporate outpatient orthopedic clinics, as well as having my own clinic in town that I loved, grew from the ground up, and eventually moved into this virtual model for two important reasons. For one, because of my own long journey with chronic hip pain, I realized that what I was doing in the clinic or what I was getting on myself in the clinic wasn't what actually needed to occur or have in my body to help me heal. Second, I'm all about proactive and empowering healthcare, especially for women. I think a lot of our healthcare is reactive and trying to band-aid issues or not really identify the real root causes. And I don't want to do that. I need to help my clients better understand what is keeping them stuck, why all the things they've tried for their hip pain hasn't fully resolved the issue. And also I want to teach them how to heal themselves. So when we're working virtually with somebody, it's going to take an active approach. Somebody has to be willing and wanting to learn how to understand and heal their body for us to work successfully. It's also going to take really good communication, open and honest feedback, and a collaborative type of approach so that we can truly build the trust and the understanding that we need to have between the provider and the patient. Now, I will say I am not against in-person physical therapy or in-person treatments at all. I actually really appreciate it when the women that come to us have tried a lot of things already in person. Not only do I get to learn what they've had exposure to or what has helped or maybe not helped so much, but it also helps make me more confident on if I feel our process could work for somebody. So when we're working with somebody virtually, we're still going to do all the same assessments. We're going to look at the same types of things that we would in the clinic, but we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to obviously walk them through things. They can visually stand up, get on the ground, do squats, do different movements. We're going to get an understanding of how their body moves. I don't need to put my hands on somebody to figure that out. I just need to see them. So we'll go through all the same types of assessments. And if there are any assessments that require manual treatments or for them to touch certain muscles or give me feedback on how certain things feel, I will guide them on how to do that. I will demonstrate with visual models. I will demonstrate on myself. I will also give them very good cues so they can understand how to interpret what it is they're feeling. And I really like this because this allows me to start to educate and teach the person that I'm talking to how to get a sense of what their body is trying to communicate with them. When we've had these recurring or nagging symptoms, especially in the hip or in the back or with the pelvic floor, oftentimes all the basic things have been tried already. You've tried all the physical therapy, you've been consistent with exercises. We can't just look at the basics if we're trying to have a lasting resolution. With recurring hip pain, it's often more than just the local joint or just the muscles around the hip joint. We have to understand the dynamic movement patterns. We have to understand motor control. We have to understand the brain-body connection and where the lack or deficits are. And those pieces of information actually give us more guidance than just a couple of exercise movements or some basic tests that have already been done in their in-person PT. So having a more comprehensive look at somebody really allows us not only to pick up on things quickly from day one, but also to teach them how to understand what these symptoms have been meaning. The other thing that's really important, anytime we're talking about recurring or chronic types of symptoms, is that the manual stuff, whether it's the hands-on massage or using tools or even a lot of stretches, those are just short-term tools, I guess, if you want to think of it that way, that aren't really going to have a long-term effect. So it's okay to use those, but they need to be done in conjunction with other things as well for the body to actually get the right input and to be able to retrain patterns or put different pieces of the puzzle together. So when we're working with somebody, we're not just going to look at their movement. We're going to assess the different muscles and joints from the feet up, the shoulder down. We're going to look at breathing patterns. There's a lot we do within the pelvic floor to help our clients understand maybe what's going on with some of those deeper hip rotator muscles that you can't see or touch easily. They're out of sight, they're out of mind, so nobody's properly assessing them. We need to teach our clients how to assess that and also what to do with that information. So that is done through a number of different ways we gather assessment information, which I'm not going to get into on this video. But just to give you insight, it's more than just are you tight or are you weak, okay? The other factor is oftentimes there's other non-movement aspects going on. There could be hormonal shifts or stress or protective mechanisms that are going on that have just naturally developed over time because of the brain getting used to this compensated state. So when we're evaluating somebody, it's going to be more comprehensive. It's going to be more holistic in order for us to truly identify the root cause keeping them stuck in their symptoms. The reason I transitioned this completely virtually is, for one, I had tested this for years and years in the clinic, and I saw how good of results we were getting. But we were actually getting faster results when I made my clients do more on their own. When I could cue them or guide them maybe in the clinic, but then they would practice on their own, we were actually making faster progress than if they just relied on me in the clinic, teaching them how to do an exercise or putting my hands on them. And that was huge for me because time is money. Speed of results is king. I want to make sure I can help people feel better faster and keep it so that they can get back to their active lifestyles and not feel like they're struggling in this recurrent symptom flare-up. The other reason was because I wanted to be able to reach women around the globe. There is such a need for solid, experienced providers being able to help somebody struggling with chronic hip pain or recurring symptoms or frustrating pelvic floor diagnoses that just aren't fully resolving with typical approaches. And so I didn't want our care to only be reserved for those who could come see us. I wanted to be able to spread that around the world because we need more of this. As women, we do so much for our communities, for our jobs, for our kiddos, for our partners, that we have to have quality self-care and education and guidance in the healthcare realm for us as women if we're going to be able to keep doing what it is we want to do. So those are two big reasons why I transitioned everything virtually. And then, of course, I refined. Everything that we're doing virtually at this point has a multi-year, hundreds of patient success history. Okay, so it can work for the right person, but that person has to be willing to understand their body and to meet us halfway. The other piece that's really important as far as the effectiveness of virtual care is that we can see clients in their own environment. Whether that's getting, in and out of their chair or their car, or being at the gym when they're doing their workouts, or at home when they're doing their workouts, we can actually have more frequent touch points day to day or week to week so that we're constantly tweaking something that we're observing, giving them cues to work on, they're practicing it, developing the skill set, and then the next day we're following up with the next option to focus on, as opposed to 1 or 2 sessions a week, disconnected care. You have to organize the schedules. You have to drive into the clinic. You have to make sure that your therapist has the one-to-one attention so that you can have deep conversations. That's just not efficient. So being virtually, hopping on Zoom, being able to chat back and forth on an exercise program allows us to gather this information and guide our clients to faster results while still feeling like they get very individualized care and very quick responses for clarity. Now, what we aren't going to be able to provide virtually, obviously, is hands-on care. That could be still needed. So I'm going to teach somebody how to do certain self-release techniques or mobilizations if I feel like they actually need that in order to get the improved movement mechanics or, activation of the right areas. If I feel like somebody needs in-person care or hands-on care, I will let them know. Either so that they choose that route instead of us, or so that we can work collaboratively and they can get the best of both worlds as well. So if you've been wondering how virtual PT can actually work with something like recurring hip pain, hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight into what it looks like or how it may be a good fit or not for you. And if you feel like this conversation has been helpful, I'll share a handful of links below this video that give you a little bit of insight into some of the conversations or pieces of education we might have with clients, as well as certain types of self-assessments that we'll teach clients to do, just so you can get a glimpse of maybe what it looks like a little bit on the inside, so that hopefully you can get some guidance to lead you forward in a direction that's actually going to help you fully heal and not just feel like you're stuck in the same cycle of doing things over and over, but not really feeling like you're having lasting results or, confidence that you're truly solving the correct problem. And if there are any other questions or topics you want me to dive deeper in, just leave some requests below in the comment section and I will add them to the list.